Hello and welcome to this career YouTube video on personal branding. My name is Sarah Gifford. I am the Careers Information Advice and Guidance Lead within Kaplan. And I'm really pleased today to be joined by CK from Dublin Business School. CK, hello.
Hi, Sarah. Lovely to virtually see you again. It's been so long.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell our audience, what it is you do within DBS?
Okay. My name's Nzaki McKevish, but everybody calls me as CK. If you have any troubles remembering it, just think of Calvin Klein and just somebody who doesn't have the same money, which is me. Just yes, though. I'm a career coach at Dublin Business School. Here in Dublin.
Fantastic. Thank you, CK. So I guess for those who have joined today, just what we're going to be covering, well, it's certainly going to be talking about what is personal branding. We'll be talking about who your target audience could be, social media. We'll be talking about kind of creating a plan or strategy for your own personal brand. And we'll also be giving you some kind of next steps ideas. So let's crack on, CK. What are your views on personal branding? What is personal branding?
So you know what, whenever I start looking at this topic of personal branding, it's so kind of internal for me, because I really believe personal branding really starts with yourself, your confidence, your life experience, and what you can contribute. I constantly say that every single employee, every graduate, anyone with an academic background or life experience is an asset, and they can contribute to this. Personal branding relates to how others view you. So, your expertise, your competencies, what are you well known for? So, Sarah, I might ask you, what is the one thing you're known for in regards to your family? Just like, even just think about like one thing that everyone like, oh, Sarah's always this.
My sense of humor.
Your sense of humor. Exactly. That would even be looking at your personal branding itself. Yeah. It's one thing about you that it's an impression, if you will.
So it's much more than just about self-esteem and confidence.
Yes, it's 100% so much more. It's all about how you captivate this information, your accomplishments, your goals, and really who you wish to connect with as well. And that's what personal branding is all about. It's in its sense, it's like a mixture. It's a recipe. There's so many different facets in it that it's not just attributed to one aspect, which is confidence, or one thing such as your work experience.
And what do you do if you don't know what your personal brand looks like?
The first thing that I always say to people is, if you think of yourself, your name, what do people know you as? Your social media. I'd always just say, Google yourself. And you're going to have an impression as to what the world sees you as. And that's where you really start to begin to, start cultivating that brand of yourself, or what you want, or what you want to contribute, whether it's to an organization, or it might just be in an essence to, your work, or how you want to be perceived. That's essentially what it is.
That's a really good starting place, to have a look at what people already think you are and then mold it out from there.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about what personal branding is. And I guess I wanted to put up some slides to help people understand, how do you find out what your own personal brand could look like? So, what do you want to be known for? That's ultimately the question that you need to be asking. What is your vision? Yeah. What do people want to you want people to say about you? What do you need to do? What are you trying to achieve by creating this personal brand? That's essentially what we've just said. Exactly. And I think who you are when you're at your best is the best kind of question to kind of think. That's who you want to be showcasing all the time. How do you operate? What sets you apart from others? How can you sell yourself in the best way? And there's a very famous quote that I'd like to quote today from Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. He put it perfectly, I think, when he said, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. That is absolutely key.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to add on to that as well. It's so important just in regards about authenticity. So you just said that your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Being your most authentic self. I say this to my students all the time. Nobody can be a better you than you. And that is honestly the end of it, case in point. Just to hand in with that, authenticity is so, so important when it comes to personal branding.
That's right. It's not about creating a kind of a fake personal brand at all. You have to be authentic. Completely agree with that, ZK. So let's talk a little bit about target audience. Over to you, ZK.
Okay. So we talked a little bit there about authenticity, and it's really important that you understand firstly how you work, how you are as a person. You need to be emotionally aware and just self-aware about yourself. And once you have that image in regards of who you are and your unique selling point, what you have to offer, what you can contribute, and the asset that you bring to the table, this is when you can start identifying who your target audience is. So the one thing that's really important to remember, we have it up there, is your target audience. You're trying to build a relationship. So think about the friendships that you have, the close relationships you have with colleagues, people in the community. You build those up over time. So it's really important when it comes to personal branding that it's not going to be instantaneous results. It's not going to be instant gratification. There's going to be a lot of work that you're going to have to do in the background prior to reaching and actually getting a chance to engage with your target audience. So that's really, really important. Okay. So you need to ensure that that relationship you're building with your target audience is essentially a real relationship that's going to be nurtured over time and will possibly be able to, give you access to opportunities, or even just as a way for you to be able to give and take and share information as well. Okay. So one of the things we always say to students is, who are you trying to attract? So once you have identified, let's say your social media preference that you will be engaging your target audience, now you need to ask yourself, so who am I trying to get attracted to, or who am I trying to attract onto my profile, my platform? Who am I trying to speak to? So these, the personal branding that we're doing today is more kind of focused on students, graduates, next level into your career. So this is where you're going to start connecting with potential employers, the companies that you aspire to work for one day, the recruiters that are hiring for those companies. If you are thinking about going down the business route where you want to sell a product or a service, your customers, your clients, that's the next bit. Project leaders, industry experts, how can you mutually benefit from this relationship? And this is ideally how you will begin, just with identifying your target audience. And it will help you then as well with picking your social media and what's the next one then. So just to add on to that, do they support your goals for your personal brand? That's why it's so important when I talk about relationships. A lot of times people think that connecting on the likes of LinkedIn is as far as the relationship goes, but it's so much more than that. So much more than that. If you are connecting with someone and having a relationship, there has to be a give and take. Okay. So do they support your goals for your personal brand? Are they going to add value to those goals, to your plan, to your strategy? Or is it somebody who you're going to be able to learn from? Maybe their posts are going to be engaging and you're going to be able to have information and things you can take away from that and share with your other network, or even be able to share an impact on your colleagues, your peers, your family members, whoever that might be as well.
Brilliant.
Social media.
There are a lot of images on this slide, CK.
It really is. And I love this. And Sarah, do you want me to be very honest with you? I love this because when you are 18, 19, you have your one social media platform that you are dedicated to. Okay.
Yes.
All of your friends are on it, all of anybody in your school, and that's it. That's all you have to worry about, right? Yeah. Whereas this means that, like, oh my God, the world is so much bigger than what we thought it was. It's not just those 1 minute videos. So right now, the millennials love TikTok. I love TikTok as well, but they mainly stay on TikTok and the likes of Instagram. So it's really important when you're talking about your target audience. You've identified that. I'm going to just use an example. If I want to engage my clients, and I know that my clients belong to a demographic of between 18 and 21, the demographic between 18 and 21, they stay on platforms that are all about visual, being able to create content and share it on a visual platform. So this is where people would gravitate towards Tumblr or Pinterest or even YouTube and Instagram as well. So their audiences that they know are going to be scrolling and have a look, like, comment, share. That's what you're trying to engage with. So it just depends on where is your audience sitting.
Yeah.
That will essentially decide where your social media platform that you're going to be building with your clients and everybody else, where it's going to sit. So every single person here or in DBS is always looking to see professionally, how do I, get myself out there on social media? And it's always going to start with LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's the number one professional social networking platform. It allows you to, and they're consistently building it. So you can post like you did on Facebook, statuses like you do on Twitter. You can post videos and photos like you do on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's just encompassing everything all together. So this is where you're going to be showcasing your professional accomplishments, those aspirations about your career. And that's going to go on from there. So for instance, with Twitter, I just found that I host a lot of tech conferences. And in the presentations, when I introduce a tech guest speaker, and this is anything from cybersecurity, data analytics, or just business analytics, they always have 2 social media handles on their slide. And can you guess what that is?
Twitter.
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn. That's it. Always. I have gained 25 followers over the weekend because I engaged on Twitter during our conference and I used the correct hashtags.
Brilliant.
That's it. So it just really depends on what it is, but not only social media, but you also have to be a member of, place like ACCAs. It might be the likes of getting involved in community forums, chartered banker, ICA as well, because these are the things that are going to contribute to your personal brand, to what you're going to be known for. So we're all about cultivating, and it's not an image, but more regards to cultivating a personal brand about how you work.
Yeah.
So how you can be an asset to an organization. Membership is the one thing that they will be looking for, because membership gives you access to events. It gives you access to a wider community and to network, especially with people that you have something in common with,
That's it. You've got an immediate audience who are ready and willing to listen to what you have to say about the subject that you're interested in.
Exactly.
That's the key.
It's so key. And the last thing then will always be, it just depends on location wise. Okay. So in the world, LinkedIn would be known as the number one professional, kind of networking social platform. But the likes of Zing is actually mainly used a lot more than LinkedIn. It was created in Germany, in Hamburg to be exact.
Right.
And it's predominantly used within like Denmark, Austria, and Switzerland. They would use Zing more than they would use LinkedIn. So sometimes it's about researching about what is currently available in your location and how many users can you interact with. Opportunity is the exact same thing. Opportunity is actually, it's like a dating profile, but for jobs. So it's really interesting. It's I think it was created in the States. So it's one of those, swipe left type of things, but you create a profile and then all these jobs, and you're able to match from a skill set perspective, what you're looking for, challenges, the projects and things like that as well. And it allows you to network. So it's essentially, where are you in the world? And who are you trying to reach? And where are they?
Yeah. So when someone is looking at, which social media platform they should be engaging with, they really need to think hard about who their target audience is, like we've said before, but what location they're looking at, what kind of purpose they're looking at from getting from their social media platform.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
So there's so much that you need to just think of. And then we've got the last one there with virtual events. I will always be a keen advocate and promoter of any event that you go to, because it is one of the best places to just kind of start to establish your personal brand, or even just get ideas.
Absolutely.
And just seeing who else is in your network and how they perceive you. And that might be another way just to be able to build up on your strategy.
Fantastic. Okay, next slide.
So I covered some of this already, just in regards of, choosing the best platform. Who is it that you're trying to engage with? Where are they in the world? Also, another important thing, I don't think I mentioned this, is your content. So is your content something that will decide what is the best platform for you to use? So Sarah, if you were a photographer, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense for you to just have it on LinkedIn, would it? It would have to be a thing of you using the visual platforms that will allow you to showcase your artwork.
That's right.
That's another thing that's really, really important, is what is it that you are trying to get out there? Is it information? Is it knowledge? But in what format? you
That's
know?
so true. And now there are so many different formats, not just imagery, but videos, podcasts,
Yeah.
articles. You could just be the person who is just engaging in conversations and attending events and talking about them. You really,
Exactly.
like you said, need to understand what it is you're trying to get out there.
Yeah, exactly. And who are you trying to build that relationship with? Who are you trying to network with? Which is so important. And it even says there, you need to build recognition. So it's important. I went back to the very beginning when I said you need to remember that this is not going to be instantaneous. It's not going to be instant gratification. Unfortunately, we live in the type of world where social media influencers have like 40 million followers, and whenever they post anything, it's huge. And we want that. We want to be able to feel that level of engagement, that level of positive feedback, and everything. And I understand it. I really, really do. But I always am a firm believer that if you really want something, and this is something that you're really interested in, then you need to be prepared for it to take a little bit of time. Look, I would love to be a social media influencer because I'm all about that ring light, like, comment, subscribe. But it's important that you are authentic to yourself. And this is where building that recognition, people need to start talking about you, what you do, how you do it, and why you're able to. I always just say add that little bit of spice onto it, because it's all about you. It's your perception of it. It's the way that you do it. And like I said, nobody can do you better than you.
And CK, that segues really nicely into how we as individuals can make a really lasting impression, particularly virtually. It's really difficult, not necessarily difficult, but sometimes can be a bit challenging in the environment that we're in to make that impression instantaneously with someone who's essentially through a screen or over the phone. So, a few top tips. None of these are, groundbreaking. They are all things that people should be doing naturally, but sometimes it just helps to remind yourself, of what you need to be thinking of when you are meeting people. So obviously you need to be friendly and approachable. You need to be confident. Hold your posture differently. Stand up straight. If you are delivering, a video, or if you're at a conference, try standing up and having that video conferencing call. It makes such a difference. Make sure that you're giving kind of clear communication so that, your facial expression is, expressive, you're smiling, and all of the language that you're using is just really clear and passionate. People need to hear that passionate. That's where that genuineness comes from. You need to make people understand that this conversation that you're having is something that you're genuinely interested in.
Yeah. Just to add on to that, Sarah, I'm so glad that you said that about the passion. My first time interviewing when I started in the world of recruitment, I had the worst interviewing skills you could possibly imagine. And I remember the manager said to me after I got the job, which I was literally like, "Are you serious? Are you sure you want to hire me?" A few months after the role, I sat down with my manager, and she had I can't remember how we got to the topic of conversation, but she said one of the reasons that she hired me was because it was like, she said that when I was talking, you could see my nervousness. But when I talked about something I really loved, she was like, my whole demeanor changed. She was like, my face lit up, my smile was bright, I was animated, and I was very articulate and very clear in regards of what I loved about that topic at the time. And that's the part where I'm just like, I was terrible in an interview. So terrible. I don't even remember what I said. But when they rang me to offer me the job, a part of me was just like, are you sure you've got the right person? Because I don't think we walked out of the same meeting. So it's so important that you follow the things that you are really passionate about, because it's the one thing that will give you that confidence, like you said.
And it will give you away if you're not passionate, or you don't, you're not keen to have those conversations with other people, because it comes across really clearly, that you're not interested.
Exactly.
We've got a few other hints and tips here, of making sure that you find common ground with individuals, connecting with people, but particularly connecting in a timely fashion. I think that is really key. We could have a whole, presentation just on that quick point. All you need to be doing at the end of engaging with someone is send them a quick message. It can be as simple as, I liked the way you did X, Y, and Z, or I would really like to know more about whatever it was, or just thank you for, you know, presenting, or whatever it was that they did. You just need to engage with them so that they have a lasting memory of you. And one top tip that I would always give someone is to follow an example of someone. You know, if you've had someone come to you and leave a really good lasting impression, follow their example, take up those tips. Emulate who you want to emulate.
Exactly.
Brilliant. So let's talk about creating a strategy.
Oh, okay. So this is a little bit, it's deeper than just coming up with, you know, action points in regards. So we've talked about who you want to be, what you're trying to get into, and essentially what you want your brand to say about you. So your vision, your goals, we've spoken about that. The creating of a plan and a strategy is you knowing exactly, you know, from a social media perspective, where is your target audience? It's identifying your goals. It's assessing, you know, the likes of what skills do I have that makes me a really good candidate. The one thing that you see there, passion, values, belief, and strength, they're so important because your passion is something that cannot be swayed by another individual. Your values are instilled in you since you were a child, and you're consistently talking about boundaries, creating boundaries personally and professionally in order to continue living with your beliefs and being able to impact the world the way that you want to. It's the same thing with your beliefs, whether it's the spiritual or it might be just believing in hard work and that hard work is going to pay off. You know, these are essential for understanding yourself. And once you understand yourself, you understand how you work. And self-assessments, I love them because there's certain things that you don't know about yourself. And self-assessments allow you to be honest. Well, if you use them properly, you're going to be honest, right? But you're going to be honest about, you know, yourself, and it's going to tell you the aspects about you where you score. So I love the 16personalities.com. I found out that I'm an ENFJ. ENFJ falls in the categories Oprah Winfrey. So CK Network is coming soon. Barack Obama, I'm about to run Ireland. I'm telling you right now. Maya Angelou, didn't think of myself as creative, but I had to find that. So why this is so important, I never viewed myself as a creative. I always went down the practical, humanistic business administration route. I never saw myself as a creator. I never saw myself as Picasso or, you know, being able to do that. However, it taught me that creativity is so much more than just being able to, you know, draw or sing or perform. It's more than that. You know, you can be creative in any area that you want to be. And that's why it's so important to assess yourself, because those misconceptions that you already have, self-assessments allow you to really ask yourself, but why do I think that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why don't I think I have something to stand out, you know?
And you've just pinpointed just one example of a self-assessment, but there are so many out there, aren't there, of examples that people can use. You don't have to look far to kind of Google, you know, self-assessment and come up with a few ways of identifying those traits within yourself.
Exactly. Not at all. It's just knowing that about yourself. And then now you're like, okay, I know who I am. I know where my audience is sitting. I know what content I want to get out there. So now it's just a sense of planning. It's planning it out, strategizing it, you know? So is it LinkedIn? Is that the platform that you're going to go into? Once you've decided it's LinkedIn, we're going to decide, okay, how many times are we posting?
Yes.
What's trending? The one thing that I will say just with the current situation is that your posting used to be kind of following peak times, trending and things like that. There was lots of digital marketing content that was kind of published to do with when's the right time to get people. But we're all at home now.
Yes.
We're on social media 24/7.
The old rules have gone.
Exactly. The old rules are gone. So you don't have to be so nervous now being like, oh, no, I can't post. I missed my window at 7 p.m. on a Thursday. It doesn't have to
wait. I have to wait till next week now.
Exactly. No, it doesn't have to be anything like that. It's more in the sense of making those plans. Regarding your content, how about consistency? How often are you going to post? Who is it that you're trying to get involved with? You know, are you part of a group? Does that count as your personal branding strategy, getting other people who are recognized as experts? to recognize you as somebody who's able to contribute, bring something to the table. I had a little conversation this morning with an international group who I always said to them, I said, when you're sitting and going for a job, when it comes to coming to the table, it's like a barbecue. Okay. Everybody brings something to the table. Don't be afraid of being the person to have a look at the table, to be like, okay, we've got the salads, we've got the meat, we've got everything else. We don't have dessert though. What's wrong with you being that person who brings it? Because I remember you for that, because I love dessert, but I remember you for that. I remember you for bringing something that we didn't have on the table. I honestly feel that everybody has a place at the table. And it's just about knowing yourself well enough that you can pinpoint, well, I understand that, but your mission value, same with mine. Yeah. My personal one.
And CK, you make a really good point there, just bring something to the table. But what about for people that are quite, nervous about, if I have to post every week, what if I miss that one week? They put a lot of pressure on themselves to have those deadlines.
So I would say we are living in the era of new technology. So I use personally social media management type of apps. So the likes of Hootsuite, Buffer, they're really good so you can schedule. So rather than consistently having to run onto LinkedIn, run onto Instagram, and then run onto different, different platforms, you could use one that you can allow yourself to post on. It will, adhere to the guidelines that are set on each and every platform, and you can schedule them and do it from, I always do like an hour in a day, and I would plan for 2 days of content. So that's the way that I would do it. As well as that, guys, the first post will always be the hardest. It'll always be the hardest, no matter what you're you could be posting about your favorite day in the whole wide world, or you could literally be posting about, I was here. But after, I always just say one thing, right? If you are nervous about posting for the first time, say on LinkedIn or anything like that, go to an event, take an image at the event, post it on your LinkedIn, and just say that you had a great time, evening, seminar listening to. Tag 2 or 3 people or 2 speakers that you heard of. Use the hashtags, and then you're done.
Yes. Yeah.
Just say it
doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be scary. Not the first one.
No, not at all.
So you've got another really great tip here, CK, haven't you? On Google yourself. I love this tip.
So once you have an idea in regards of your personal branding about you and yourself, so now you have to figure out, what do other people think about you, right? So you saw it there. What do others say about you? Google yourself. Type in your full name into Google and look at your social media that comes up. Look at the images that come up. What are the words associated with your name, your profile picture, the events that you attend? Is it accurate? If you don't like what's up there, delete it quick. Get rid of it.
Or change it.
Or change it, exactly. What I was going to say is, I always recommend cleaning up your social media, because a recruiter that gave me really sound advice was the likes of, depending on where it is that you're trying to go, they have a certain image or perception. And you need to also look at the people that work there. How do they represent themselves on social media? And that might be an idea of a way for you to follow. But the other end of it is that, he was applying for a job somewhere extremely corporate, and they researched his social media, and they found a lot of inappropriate content that was posted on the likes of social media, on LinkedIn and, I say, Facebook, and he was perfect for the role, except for that one thing
put them off. So
Absolutely. It's really important that you know what your name, what the perception of your name is out there. So I know myself, when I go on to Google, I'm linked with Dublin Business School, I'm linked with careers, and I'm linked with the likes of information, DNI, tech conferences, hosting and speaking at events. A lot of the images from there as well is the exact same thing. So that's where you need to really start. It's more or less going back to the drawing board, seeing what's there, taking out or changing whatever doesn't fit, and then going on then to be like, okay, what can I add in? Absolutely. So at this point, you know who you are, you know what you can offer. And this is where you're going to start being like, okay, either I'm a novice and I'm going to portray myself as a novice who's out here to learn, or I'm an expert.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the expert. I'm the king when it comes to this, or the queen when it comes to this,
Yeah.
because needs to be specific. But like that, you're going to be building on these things. You're going to be talking about your goals. Who are you trying to reach? What social media platform do I have to go on to? How can I manage this in an effective way as well? The peak times in trending, it does change. Trending is never going to go away. So now that we're on social media, I'm sure you'll see for yourself that, this hashtag something will always be happening.
Yeah.
I was hosting a conference, and we actually ended up being number 4 trending in Ireland, which is a
Wow.
great thing. So this is another way of you just engaging.
Mm,
Just
absolutely.
go onto the hashtags. And last but certainly not least, consistency is key. Set a schedule that works with how many hours that you are available, or the time for you. So time to actually create the content.
Yes. Yeah.
You need to do that. Time to actually post the content. Does that take a little bit longer? Is there editing involved? Is it a video? Does that require you to spend an hour with some applications that maybe you're still learning how to use? This is the part where you start small and you can build it up as you go along. It doesn't have
Absolutely.
to be this huge project. It can be small, like step by step. Rome wasn't built in a
Absolutely.
day,
And
right?
you said you spend, you set aside kind of an hour a
Mm,
day. That's because you do it on such a regular basis. I certainly don't, but I make sure that I carve out 20
yeah,
minutes. 20 minutes is all I
that's it.
need. And you can find 20 minutes at any point during a week.
Exactly, exactly. It's not that hard. I think people just see the word strategy, and personal branding is already one of those topics that can get people a bit nervous.
Yeah,
And with that, it helps you to just know yourself a little bit better, which would be one
absolutely.
point. And then the next bit as well is, like I said, tiny little steps, baby
Yeah.
steps. That's all you need.
Brilliant. And on that, then we have got a few thoughts, haven't we, on
Yeah,
how you start to build up these networks.
exactly. I always say, well, we're all inside now, so you have no choice but to have a stellar social media platform. There must be at least one that, like, you always are like, this is my child. She's
Yes.
amazing. He is amazing. But like that, social media, look at your profile picture and ask yourself if you've changed in the last 8 months or so. Have you changed your headline, or have you even changed or posted any content?
Mm.
That would be one thing. Start generating that, start changing your picture, your headline, your content, and going up there. Look at your online activity. So Sarah, I'm really glad that you talked about going on for 20 minutes, because not everybody has time to sit down and implement a personal branding strategy. However, online activity is very important for employers. So
Mm.
it's something that you should be um consistent with it. You don't have to consistently create new content. You can reshare old content, but showcase that you are actively using those social media platforms. I know a lot of tech companies and a lot of like business oriented management consulting would be looking at your online activity. They just want to see, are you engaged?
Absolutely.
Are you engaged with your network? And
Yeah.
that's really important for them. So that's important. Make sure that you're joining in groups and forums as
Yeah.
well. Go on, Sarah. I think I cut you off there.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, we've already talked about this, that we definitely know that there's going to be another YouTube video coming,
Yes.
talking specifically about how to build up your networks, because we could talk forever about this in particular, how to kind of connect with people. We're just touching on it now.
Exactly. And maybe this is something that you should be doing for yourself. After this, have a look at your social media and see, what can you do just to spruce it up a little bit, or
Yeah.
even to show people that, hey, I'm still here and I'm still engaging with you guys. Look at your privacy settings as well. When it comes to networking, people keep being like, oh no, there's no events. Virtual networks events
There's so
all
many
the
events
way.
on.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So
Absolutely.
much on.
So many. And I've noticed myself. So remember we talked about the professional membership.
Mm.
They host a lot of events specifically to that industry. So whatever professional network that you're a member of, you have already got access to a huge network, industry experts,
And it
people
could
who
be
are going to be able
part
to
of
help you.
it can be part of your CPD as well. So,
Yeah.
if you mention it, I'm sure to, your line manager, or if you're in work, it can probably count towards, what you're already doing or need to be kind of keeping up to date on as part of your job.
Exactly. I will just say that with virtual events, it's important for you guys to participate. So
Yes.
there's been a couple of events where you literally just see a blank screen and a name, and then the little the little red mark at the top to say that the mute is mic the mic is muted as well, excuse me. So like that, it's important to participate. I We talked about leaving an impression. This
Yeah.
is one of the ways that you can leave an impression. Ask a question, be articulate in the way that you're saying it. Ask a question that's directly relates to what the topic of conversation is, or the tone of the conversation, and that way you're going to be remembered for leaving that impression, which makes it so much easier than when you go bloop up to the very top of connecting with somebody and building that
Absolutely.
relationship. So guest speakers, I get it all the time. I host workshops in GBS for our students on a weekly basis, and I promise you, every time I finish a workshop, I have somebody trying to connect with me on LinkedIn and just saying thank you so much for the workshop, or really great insights. And look, you might be lying to me. I don't care. I take it as flattery. I think it's great. And what I do then is I ensure that I can follow up, and then I'd look for follow-up posts as well.
Yeah.
So I like that as well. Then I'd be like, and I love when people are like, you know what, I was really nervous about posting for the first time, but I have now thanks to you. And I'll go and like that post.
That's exactly. They've instantly got a hit on it.
Exactly.
You've already touched on kind of CK, what kind of next steps would be. Go away, Google yourself,
Yes.
do a self-assessment plan.
Yeah.
You've mentioned about just make that first post, whatever it is, and don't feel that you need to make it scary. But I guess if do you have any kind of tips for people that are perhaps a little bit nervous and might be thinking, what if something goes wrong? What if I don't hit the right note? What if someone doesn't like my post? What would you say to those people?
I would say that life is all about experiences. As long as you haven't put up a post that is going to be extremely controversial, calling out somebody or cussing anybody out, you are okay.
Yeah.
It may not gain as much attention or engagement as you would like. However, social media platforms are great because they provide insights for you, which means that you could actually go back and reflect. So number one, it's all about life experience. It's trial and error. It's really important. Number two, we have great insights available on these different platforms, which allows you to, number three, reflect and see what's working and what's not working. And that goes back to being, once you do number one, you can see what's working, what's not working, which means that you're going to stop making what you view as a mistake, and what I call, a part of the journey. So you have that as well. Number four then is also it's just about being true to yourself. Your content needs to be authentic. It needs to be engaging. And the only way you're going to be able to get that is if you care about what you're writing about and the topic as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. And the last tip is have fun with it. I have fun in everything that I do. And I've noticed that I know that about myself, that I need that element of just being 100% me. And Sarah knows this very well, because so many times our meetings, she's like, what? But like that, just have fun with it. It's not supposed to be this daunting job for you. It's supposed to be a way for you to express yourself, but also a way to get you to know yourself better, so that you can ooze confidence. And so when anybody's asking you anything, you're like, that's my brand. I'm an expert. I know what I'm talking about. That's all it is.
You have hit the nail on the head there. And I think that is the perfect way to end this session. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I can't wait for the next video that we're going to do. And for those of you that are still with us, we're going to include some resources links into the YouTube description below. So please do click through on those and do get in touch if you have any further questions. Thank you very much. And goodbye.
Pleasure. Thanks, Sarah.